Hello, my name is Graham Singh. I'm the founder of GTM Academy. I run a community of over 20 entrepreneurs, and I've coached over 20 entrepreneurs making over 10K a month. And one of the common things that they all come to me and say is that they feel really guilty when they don't work on the business. And this video is to help people that are feeling a little bit guilty to understand how they can not feel guilty. So let's get into it. The guilt trap, right? If you're struggling to take a break from your business because every time you do, your brain is constantly thinking about work, you're thinking about what you could be doing, you're thinking about the progress that you could be making, you're thinking about the money that you're leaving on the table, and as a result, you feel like you're disappointing your family, you're disappointing the people around you, and most importantly, you're disappointing yourself, is because of one of two things. Now, today I'm going to be showing you where guilt actually comes from and how you can stop it. So to start with, we're going to base this off a definition so we actually have a solid starting point. Now, guilt, as defined by ChatGPT, is a complex emotional state that arises when a person perceives that they have violated a moral or social standard, either through action or omission. Okay? It's often accompanied by regret, remorse, and self-blame. It's a really solid definition, and we're going to be breaking that down a little bit further. Now, there's 3 types of guilt that researchers have found, and by understanding the different types of guilt, we can actually try and tackle each one individually rather than trying to fight 3 battles at once. So what are these 3 different types of guilt? The first type is reactive guilt, right? This comes up when you actually do something wrong, okay? For example, you might lie to a friend, you might not do the work that you know you should do, you might take a break, and as a result of taking a break, you know you should have been doing something else. It's a reaction to something that you have or haven't done, okay? That's number 1. Number 2 is anticipatory guilt, okay? I have no idea if I said that right, but you can guess what this means. It's you experience this when you're thinking about doing something, a transgression, something that's wrong, something that violates that moral or social standard that you set for yourself. Okay? So for example, if someone's thinking about cheating, they might feel really guilty for thinking about cheating. You might think about having a cheat meal. You might think about taking a weekend off. And even thinking about that, you might feel a little bit guilty because you're so caught up in this hustle grind and mindset that you're like, okay, I don't feel good about the fact that I'm even considering, taking a break from the business, taking a step back, maybe even stopping the business. Okay, so this is the second type of guilt, anticipatory guilt. Now, the third type of guilt is existential guilt, right? That word I can't say. So this is more of an abstract feeling related to unfulfilled potential or not living up to your own ideas. Now, these 3 different types of guilt, I'm sure everyone can say that they've experienced them at some point. But what I want to actually get into is, okay, if I'm feeling any of these 3 types of guilt, what the hell do I do, and how do I minimize the amount of guilt I'm feeling? Because guilt over a prolonged period of time is not healthy, okay? Some guilt can be a good thing, right? Like, it's not about completely eliminating guilt, because guilt gives you an understanding of, like, what your own moral right or wrong is, okay? If you respect yourself when you work a lot and then you stop working, then you should feel guilty, right? That's a good guilt because you're not doing the things that you do that you should be doing, right? If you stab someone and you don't feel guilty about it, that's not a good thing, okay? We want that level of guilt to help us to dictate what's right or what's wrong. However, if that feeling of guilt gets out of control, it can really like tie you down. It can constrict you. It can stop you from actually doing the things that you want to do. So today we're going to be going through like one framework that helps you to understand how you can overcome guilt. Now, before we get into it, I want to simplify everything we've just talked about, okay? Like, I want to make it really, really easy for you to understand where guilt comes from, or at least from my perspective and from the coaching that I've done. This is what I boil it down to, okay? Guilt is actions minus expectations. In its simplest form, that's all guilt is, okay? The bigger the difference between your actions and your expectations, the more guilt you will feel, okay? So if you say that you're going to run for a 5K and then you actually only run 1K, there's a pretty big difference between your actions and your expectation, okay? So you might feel guilty, I didn't do enough today, I didn't work out enough, right? The bigger the difference between these two, the more guilty you're going to feel. I'm going to make $1 million this year. I made £12. Big difference, big guilt. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel like you're not performing to your standard. You're going to feel like you're going way below what you should be doing. Okay? So there's two ways to look at it. And the two ways to look at it are, what can I do to increase my actions, right? And what can I do to decrease my expectations? Now, some people might be sitting there thinking, I don't want to decrease my expectations. I want to have really high standards and high goals. And if that's the case, great. Absolutely do that. But just know that as you increase your expectations, your level of action's got to increase to reflect that too. And if it doesn't increase to reflect that, you're going to have what we call imposter syndrome, okay? If your actions are aligned with your expectations, the closer they are, the less you're going to feel imposter syndrome, the less you're going to feel guilt, the less you're going to feel anxious about the things that you're doing. But if your expectations are really, really high and you're not doing anything, what do you think's going to happen, right? So what I want to kind of talk to more specifically, like we can talk about guilt in lots of different ways, but the main thing that I want to focus on today is for the entrepreneurs that want to take a break, for the entrepreneurs that want to take a step back, for the entrepreneurs that aren't taking care of themselves because they're so obsessed with their business and they can't switch off. What I want to talk about is, okay, when you're feeling this guilt, what can you do to actually overcome it? Now, this equation should hopefully give you an indication of what's going on and why you're feeling some sort of guilt, okay? Maybe you're not doing enough. Maybe you're expecting too much. Probably one of these two things, okay? Now, I can't sit down and go through every single domain of your life and where the guilt is coming from and help you to pinpoint it over a YouTube video. If you want to do something like that, you're going to have to get in touch. We're going to have to organize a call. We're going to have to do something about that more one-to-one. However, just for some context, one thing, a tool that you can arm yourself with is something that I've built out called the Reset Framework. So the Reset Framework is a really simple acronym, and it essentially takes you through 5 steps. And I'm going to talk you through them 5 steps now. So the first thing is recognize that you're feeling guilty, okay? Recognize I'm feeling guilty. What does this mean? It means that my expectations and my actions aren't aligned with each other, okay? So it's just accepting that feeling. It's not a bad feeling. It's not that you're a terrible person and you're unworthy to be loved and your mother's never going to care about you. That's not what this means, right? It's just, I don't feel good about what I'm doing, okay? That's fine. Take a step. Just take a second to accept that, to admit it, and to sit in it, okay? What you don't want to do is think you're feeling guilty, right? And this is what I see a lot of people do, and I hate it, okay? The reason I hate it is because I know how bad it is for them. So let's say someone's feeling guilty. Let's say they set a goal out, and they say, I'm going to upload 7 pieces of content this week. And then they only upload 3. But then as soon as they feel that level of guilt, immediately their brain fires back and goes, oh no, well, it's because of this, and it's because of that, and it's because of these things, right? And it immediately spouts out a bunch of BS reasons of why they didn't get the thing done, okay? That doesn't help you. It just doesn't help you. And it doesn't turn you into a better person. It doesn't get you closer to your goal. And actually, it just builds up so much BS internally within your mind. Your entire self-belief system, your self-awareness will crumble one day, and you'll feel the results of that because you'll feel a huge void in your life because you feel like you're an imposter. You feel like you're empty, right? It's because you haven't been honest with what you're actually doing. So if you're feeling guilty about not doing something, that's okay, okay? Take this as a sign that it's okay to feel guilty sometimes. But what we want to do is just recognize that we're feeling guilty firstly, okay? And then just be open and honest with yourself. Why are you feeling guilty? I'm feeling guilty because I didn't do as much as I should have done this week, okay? I literally didn't put in the effort. I didn't do enough today. You're feeling guilty, just be honest about it, okay? Ask yourself, right? Now, at this point, you can even think about taking a break, right? You might even want to apply this to the future. And you say, I'm feeling guilty because I'm about to go out with my friends for the next 3 hours when I know that there's probably stuff in the business that I could work on, okay? Say that to yourself so you can actually pinpoint why you're feeling guilty. Once you do this, okay, once you can talk about why you're feeling guilty, the next thing to do is to take a step back and think, okay, big picture. And this is one thing that entrepreneurs are really poor at a lot of the time. They're really poor at looking at the big picture when it comes to their work. And this is why a lot of entrepreneurs quit, because they're so focused in the day-to-day and what's going on week by week. They don't actually take a step back and review everything as a whole. We've just done a quarterly review recently, and that quarterly review, to be able to look over the course of 3 months, really changed the way that I see things. Okay, now I'm sure if I do a yearly review, it would again change the way that I see things. Okay, but taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture helps you to evaluate if the little crappy little meaningless things that you're looking at and worrying about and stressing about over the course of a week, over the course of a day, if they're actually meaningful or not, right? And that step back can help you to understand, like, okay, I'm going to spend 3 hours with my friends. Is that a problem? No, right? Why? Because, over the course of a week, I'll probably spend a couple hours scrolling on TikTok, probably spend some time doing, just procrastinating. It's all right for me to go and just do something productive with my time rather than me sitting at home and just scrolling on my phone for no reason, right? You can even ask yourself, okay, is this 3 hours going to massively impact the way that I work? Does this mean that I'm less committed to my actual business? Does this mean that I'm not actually focused on what I want to do? Take a step back, look at it from a big picture. Don't just look at exactly what's in front of you. Add some more context, right? And really start to understand, okay, is this actually getting out of hand? Am I going out with my friends too much and maybe that's why I feel guilty? Or is it that your goal is that you actually don't want to go out with your friends at all and you've set that expectation and now you're violating that expectation, right? That's where the guilt comes from. Your expectations and actions aren't aligned, okay? Is it actually in alignment with what your expectations are? And then from there, you'll be able to go on to the next step, which is E for evaluate, right? Evaluate whether or not the guilt that you have is helpful or it's misplaced. I can't do this for you, okay? Only you can do this for you, right? You've got to sit and think, okay, I'm feeling guilty because I want to go out with my friends. Is this actually helpful? Is this actually useful? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. You've got to sit with yourself and answer that question. But if you can answer that question, it helps you to understand what you should do next, which is finally take action. Do the thing that is best for you, okay? And notice I didn't say do the thing that's best for your business. I want people's businesses to succeed. I care much more about individuals than I care about businesses, okay? And if you're sitting here and you're feeling guilty about, what I should do and when I should be working and when I shouldn't be working, and that guilt is eating you up inside, I want you to know that you are more important than the business, right? You as an individual are more important than the business that you operate. And I want you to take actions based on what's best for you more than what's best for the business. Because if you don't take care of yourself, the business is going to fall away anyways, right? You can't operate the business if you're not taking care of yourself. So the last step in this is do the thing that's best for you. And maybe that is working more in the business, okay? But maybe it is meeting up with your friends. But going through this framework helps you to understand where the guilt is coming from. It allows you to feel the guilt a little bit more. It allows you to evaluate on a bigger scale, to step back and then also then go and take an action off the back of it, which is going to reduce your guilt because you actually feel like you're stepping in the right direction rather than stepping in a direction you're not comfortable with. So this is the reset framework. I hope you found this useful. I hope you actually apply this within your lives. So if you are feeling guilty, you can do something about it, right? I don't want you guys to feel guilty. I don't want you to go through your day-to-day feeling like you're not good enough or you're not doing the right thing and it's just eating away at you inside. I know what that feels like and it's not nice, man. So I hope you can take this advice, apply it into your own life. And if you think that this is useful, then please do subscribe, comment down below, like it, engage with the video so I know that you guys are finding this useful. We're going to be sharing more and more videos like this. I really like the slide format. I think it's quite helpful to be able to actually see things as I talk about them. And I'm excited to make more videos like this and hopefully help you guys out on your journey of business. So that's all from me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the next video.